Jordan Love has the ability to be a special quarterback. They just got you a dude that run 4.2 out of the draft, a first-round receiver to go already with a great receiver room and an all-pro running back in Josh Jacobs. It is time to deliver and take your team there. We've seen you take this team to the divisional round. It's time to put up consistently and ball out. I think this is a huge year for Jordan Love.
Green Bay now has the deepest wide receiver group in the NFL. Green Bay's receiver group.
Love how they fit together, too.
Golden, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, if he can stay healthy. You got Jaden Reed, Wicks. Like, you got 5 deep now.
Tucker Kraft is tight end.
Tight ends. Tight ends that make plays.
It's an
That's
awesome
a problem
group.
offense
Awesome
right
group.
now.
Last year, all anyone could talk about was the Green Bay Packers' lack of a wide receiver one.
We've seen moments from Watson to go, ooh, he looks like a superstar. But then the next week he pulled his hamstring again or something like that. We've had moment from Dobbs, but then there's been injuries and whatever else, and he's not on the field. So, yeah, Jaden Reed's the only proven true commodity there. They had a hit here with this.
This year, though, they finally found one. Matthew Golden is the perfect weapon for this offense and for Jordan Love, who is primed and ready to take a leap as the Packers' starting quarterback. They've been knocking on the door for the past couple of seasons, but with this new look offense on deck, it could be time for the Green Bay Packers to take back control of the North. This is why the Green Bay Packers offense is absolutely lethal. Now, heading into the 2024 season, Matt LaFleur was getting fed up with people questioning who his number 1 wide receiver was. In fact, his annoyance went so far that he said talk of the team's wide receiver 1 made him want to vomit. Well, it turns out that those people asking the questions may have had a point. And now, as we all know, the Green Bay Packers have boasted pretty much the youngest NFL roster for the past couple of seasons. And with them being one of the younger teams in the league, they've kind of relied on a deeper and just more diverse wide receiver room that's much younger as well. But that's the thing too, with no definitive wide receiver 1 to call upon, you don't have anybody that's that reliable down the stretch when you need them either. The likes of Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, and Dontavian Wicks did have their moments, and there were plenty of games where one of them would rack up some impressive numbers, but the consistency was just lacking. Reed led the team in 2024 with 857 yards and 6 touchdowns, but he had a tendency to disappear from time to time. He only surpassed the 100-yard mark once in the last 8 games of the regular season before notching just 46 yards in the playoff loss to Philly. He definitely fits the mold of a top-tier number 2 option and not someone who is reliable as your go-to guy on gotta-have-it third downs. Like, truthfully, as you watched a Packer game, you kind of just didn't know who their dominant option was at wide receiver, and truthfully, they didn't really have one. And if you don't believe my word, then listen to what Josh Jacobs thinks about it.
We probably missing like 2 or 3 pieces, and once we get that, we'll be all right.
What pieces?
I would say, I think we need another DN.
Okay.
I think we need another DB, and then I think we need a wide receiver, a real wide receiver.
Miles Garrett
number
will
1
be here later.
Yeah, like I love the guys that we have in the receiver room. They all have potential to be one.
Right.
But we need a guy that's proven to be one.
Right, command some double coverage every now and then, right.
And the funny thing too is that, well, it had become a running joke that Green Bay never selected a wide receiver in the first round. Aaron Rodgers was practically begging for one when he was still on the team to help them get them over the edge, only for them to then shock everybody and nab Jordan Love. Finally, in 2025 though, much to the joy of a Green Bay Packer draft crowd, they got their first-round receiver in the form of a Texas Longhorn, Matthew Golden. Now, Golden has had his fair share of fans throughout the entire draft process. The buzz started early when Daniel Jeremiah announced Golden could be the top wide receiver in this class. NFL Media's top draft expert then doubled down by saying he knew some teams around the league that had Golden ranked as such. Then everyone's favorite NFL YouTuber Brett Coleman added some more fuel to the hype train. Golden was a riser for sure, rocketing up draft boards throughout 2024, which was his one and only season as a starter in Texas. The season itself was a story of steady improvement, crossing 50 yards just twice in the first 6 games before doing so 7 times across the last 10 games, including in the playoffs, ultimately leading him to nabbing 58 receptions for 987 yards and 9 touchdowns. Throughout that 2024 campaign, Golden gradually took control of the offense, standing out as its clear go-to guy down the stretch. His 162 yards against Georgia were wasted in an unfortunate loss. But his 149 yards and a touchdown in the Peach Bowl are what nabbed the Longhorns a spot in the semifinal, with the team calling on his number on the all-important 2-point conversion play. Golden earned this main man role through his sumptuous route running ability. He's a fluid mover at speed, crucially showing an ability to maintain his speed in and out of breaks. He creates separation with ease and can line up both inside and out, notching a 4.29 40-yard dash to really put the icing on the cake. Also, don't be fooled by his 6-foot 195-pound frame, as Golden plays a lot bigger than that and isn't afraid to make his presence felt at the catch point. He can bring in tough catches and tracks the ball well when working deep, which combines nicely with his elite movement skills to make him exactly the kind of target that Jordan Love needs. And now, yes, I know he's not maybe the exact wide receiver that Packer fans may have wanted, but he's a good wide receiver. The dude knows how to get open, and he has plenty of explosiveness to get open on any single play. As we know with Jordan Love, he had a 62% completion rate on first downs in 2024 and 71.4% on second downs before falling all the way down to 52.7% on third downs. Only Cooper Rush, Trevor Lawrence, Spencer Rattler, and Anthony Richardson were worse throughout the 2024 campaign, not including guys who didn't take many meaningful snaps. So that's the thing, Green Bay fans are going to be hoping that Golden can help Love get this number heading in the right direction, allowing them to keep drives going. The good news for just Jordan Love and just fans in general is that they didn't stop at Matthew Golden either. Andrew Belton adds more support to the offensive line, boasting a huge frame that will come in handy when trying to protect the franchise's most important asset. Then in round 3, yet another offensive player arrived in the form of Savion Williams. This was certainly a selection that did raise many eyebrows, with Williams being viewed as an unusual offensive chess piece, but the partnership with Matt LaFleur is undeniable, an exciting one. Williams had steady progression throughout college before going big in his 5th season with 611 yards and 6 touchdowns as a receiver and 322 yards and 6 touchdowns as a rusher. And yes, while that isn't exactly eye-popping production, his measurements at 6'4", 220 pounds certainly do catch the eye, and a 40-yard dash of 4.48 seconds is impressive for a guy of his size. So I think it's no doubt too that he's going to be able to impact the game in multiple different ways. And truthfully, who better to figure out how to make the most out of him than Matt LaFleur, the guy who turned Malik Willis into an unstoppable offensive machine for a few games while Jordan Love was injured in 2024. Williams should be a fun player to keep an eye on, helping Jordan Love out on catch and run plays and mixing it in with Josh Jacobs in the backfield, so the floor might be low, but the ceiling is pretty high as an all-around weapon for this offense. If Green Bay has finally found their number 1 guy in Golden and another do-it-all playmaker with size in Williams, then they will be an almighty force to be reckoned with. Golden can help the existing wideouts slot into more suitable roles where they undeniably have plenty of talent still to offer. Jayden Reed, as we've already mentioned, is a primary slot receiver who the Packers love to get in motion, operating as a fantastic separator for Love on short and intermediate passes before showing elite yards after the catch ability. Then you have Romeo Doubs, who can take on the X receiver role and is pretty solid across the board from a skill set perspective. He's a good separator, has reliable hands, and has been the guy for Love when he needs to make a play. The only problem is that he lacks that extra level to be an every down dominator, doing his best work when Green Bay has someone like Christian Watson on the field to draw coverage away from him. And speaking of Christian Watson, he's the size speed machine who truly does keep the defense on their toes and can be an elite deep threat for Love, but he has struggled to stay healthy throughout his career. Unfortunately too, his latest injury, an ACL tear, came in week 18 of the 2024 season, which puts his 2025 status in serious jeopardy. Dontavian Wicks is another player who has flashed immense upside at times, but drops have still been his downfall. Still, he's definitely a good depth piece to have, with the potential for him to offer much more down the line. Then when you factor in Tucker Kraft at tight end, who had 707 yards and 7 touchdowns, and Josh Jacobs, who just racked up 1,329 yards and 15 touchdowns on the ground in 2024, you have a true embarrassment of riches for Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur to utilize. And I mean, we can't forget about Jordan Love himself, because the dude is just a source of plenty excitement on his own. Like, even if we flash back to the 2023 season, that second half of the season, the dude looked like, if not one of the best quarterback in the league down the stretch, before having more of just kind of an up and down 2024 season. He was pretty inconsistent throughout, ending up with 3,601 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions, which is a fair step down from the 4,624 yards, 37 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions he posted in 2023. A really ugly 3-interception outing with no touchdowns in the wildcard round against Philadelphia left fans with a sour taste in their mouth to close out the year, which means there's a little bit of pressure on Love to get back into his 2023 form in 2025. Thankfully, he now has the pass catchers to do that, and we know just how dominant Josh Jacobs can be in the run game. It wasn't just in the NFL draft either where the Green Bay Packers decided to help elevate their offense either. They did that in free agency with a couple signings. They brought in guard Aaron Banks, and this signing certainly did raise some eyebrows around the industry, with the $77 million price tag generally considered an overpay for a player who 49er fans were never truly pleased with as an interior protector. Banks has yet to log a PFF pass protection grade over 61 throughout his 3 years in the NFL. However, he did put some solid tape in the run game. He's definitely by no means a bad player, and it certainly doesn't hurt to have more bodies along the offensive line, and the lofty price tag does simply reflect how highly these kind of players are valued in the modern day NFL. The most exciting addition in free agency, though, was defensive cornerback Nate Hobbs, who arrived from the Raiders on a 4-year, $48 million deal, ready to take over the slot corner position. Hobbs was a popular player in Las Vegas and will help to bolster a unit that has already lost Eric Stokes and could potentially see Jair Alexander leave at some point as well. Defensively in 2024, the Packers had a rock-solid foundation, having finished up as the 6th best scoring defense. Pass rush was the main area of concern, and despite not addressing that in any of the top 3 rounds, the team found some useful help by double-dipping in rounds 4 and 5 with Barron Sorrell and Colin Oliver before selecting Georgia's Warren Brinson in round 6. Typically, you wouldn't want to expect such late round selections to make an impact, but this was an unusual deep class of defensive linemen in 2025, so don't be surprised to see these guys make an appearance some point this season. Overall, though, I really do think that the Packers can be proud of the offseason moves they've made so far. Even as we look back on the 2024 campaign, they were delivering on both sides of the ball good football, and I think they were inside the top 10 in scoring offense and defense. And now with the addition of just Matthew Golden inside this already explosive offense, who knows how truly good they can be this season with Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Matthew Golden, and the other just plethora of wide receivers they have. Truthfully, they definitely should like their chances in the NFC North with their 2 top rivals enduring far less reassuring off seasons. Yes, the Detroit Lions have added some useful talent on the field in the form of DJ Reed and rookies like Tyleik Williams and Tate Ratledge in the trenches, but the departure of both coordinators is not something that should be overlooked. Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn are 2 of the best, firmly imprinting their philosophy on their respective units. John Morton and Kelvin Shepard have huge shoes to fill, and there's a chance this takes time to fall into place, or that it could just downright fail altogether. For example, just look at what happened to Philly after they lost the Super Bowl in the 2022 season. Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon both left to become head coaches, and the next season saw an ugly collapse to close out the year, and both replacement coordinators were fired. The Lions definitely still have plenty of talent and a good head coach in Dan Campbell, but you never know what will happen when you get a significant brain drain in the locker room like this. Then over in Minnesota, you have the departure of Sam Darnold, who just threw for 4,319 yards and 35 touchdowns en route to a 14-win record. Obviously, the Vikings think they have something good in JJ McCarthy, but again, you just never know. He hasn't taken a singular regular season snap yet, and the potential for a very low floor is absolutely there. Finally, you have the Chicago Bears, who did bring in Ben Johnson, much to the dismay of Lions fans, but Chicago certainly has made some exciting moves from a roster perspective, loading up on weapons for Caleb Williams and bolstering the offensive line. However, this is the Bears we're talking about. We're definitely going to have to believe it once we do see it, and Green Bay should certainly feel good about staying ahead of them in the NFC North pecking order. With the offense now primed and ready to hit their next level, and with their competitors having significant question marks to deal with, Green Bay should be eyeing up the top spot in the division and planning for a deep playoff run this season.